Hi, hello, and welcome to Quantum Healing Hands Tarot. Today we are going to look at what is our nesting doll. So there's layers to who we are as people. So the biggest nesting doll kind of represents how the world views us. The middle one is how we view ourselves, and the smallest one is who we truly are at our core, like our soul level. So these are the three piles you can choose from. If you already know just by looking, there's the timestamps down below in the description box. If you need a little bit more help, we can go ahead and do some breathing and then we'll look at the piles closer. All right, so we're going to start with 3 deep breaths. All right, so now, now that we're nice and relaxed, we can look at the 3 piles. So I did add some charms in case you needed a little bit of extra help or kind of wanted something a little bit more identifiable. So in pile 1, the outer nesting doll, we have a butterfly. In the pile 2, we have the inner nesting doll with what I want to say is also a butterfly, but to me it's kind of more of like a moth. It has a different size body and stuff, so we'll go with a moth on that one. And then in pile 3, we have the innermost nesting doll, and it's a little, I want to say it's like a kid with a backwards hat. So however you interpret these, I sometimes can get swayed by one thing over another. And so to kind of have a foolproof choice, I close my eyes and I ask my intuition which pile to get or select. And I will very typically see a number in my mind's eye as if I had been like staring at a light and the shape's still there. So that's what I do. That's kind of my technique. So I'm not struggling with which pile looks the best. So those are the 3 piles. If you need any more time, just pause the video here. The timestamps are all down below in the description, but just trust you're good. It's the right one. So I'll meet you there. Hi, pile 1. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited to do this reading for you today. So if you've never heard of these nesting dolls, they open up and inside each one is another one. And so there's the big one, the medium one, and in this set there's only 3. But in some Russian, because they're called Russian nesting dolls, but I don't know if they have them anywhere else. I can't imagine they don't have this anywhere else. But anyways, some of them are very big. Some of them have like 12 different layers. I went to Russia when I was a teenager, and my mom brought back a bunch of authentic dolls from there, nesting dolls. And so this is not one from there. My wife actually bought this for me to put my engagement ring inside. So that is way too much backstory, but in case you don't know what these are. So I'm having 3 layers, and the outside one is going to represent how the world views you. So we're going to put that off to the side. So first of all, I want to note that I always choose the charms randomly. And I looked down and I was like, I have 2 butterflies on my hands as well, just like from the 2 piles. So just thought that was cute and fun. So we will check out what that is about later. So the way I set this up is I'm going to do the 3 layers. So the first one I'm about to do is how the outside world views you. And then the next will be how you view yourself. And then the last one will be who you truly are. So the first card is going to be how the world views you. So when you get the Wheel of Fortune, it kind of represents good luck. So I'm curious if you're one of those people that a lot of people just kind of think good luck falls upon you. And, you know, just like this circle, sometimes you're going to be down, but I really see you're somebody who always comes back up. And that's a so basically the outside world views you as somebody who is lucky and has had a lot of opportunities. And some people understand that when you're down, you always get back up. And that isn't just something that just happens. I feel like you've probably had to learn through several cycles of what happens about how you spin back around. So, because sometimes these wheels aren't automatic. So in the sense of like, yeah, if you're being spun and you lean that way, it'll keep going. But sometimes on these kind of spinning wheels, if you are able to keep yourself straight, you won't wobble side to side. But it's very sensitive. So you lean tiny bit this one way and you're going to spin back around. So that is something to note, that even though I believe you've always worked for getting out of maybe tough spots you've been in, the world just sees you as somebody who always rises to the top. Someone who is lucky, someone who has good fortune, and yeah, see, he's got a little 4-leaf clover in his hand. So I wanted to know about this. So what is the good about the way people view you in the world? What is the good? So the first thing I'm seeing with the 5 of Pentacles reversed here is this card is saying that, you know, this is like recovering from financial loss, which is kind of repeating what I was saying of the good is that in the world, you've always come back around. You've always found a job. When you had no money, you were able to make more. You didn't look at your bank account and go, well, I have $0. I can't do anything. Like, I see you as somebody who, like, goes around and picks up free things that people leave on the side of the, you know, like furniture and stuff. Like, you get free stuff and you make money from it. So that's kind of the impact, the good impact on the world, since the world sees you as lucky. That doesn't just mean people, that means like the universe, as it observes you, sees you as lucky. So what's interesting about the 4 of Swords reverse is it kind of represents things that you might not understand how these are good. Like, the thing that's coming to me is it kind of like a marriage that's coming to an end, kind of when you're just so exhausted with life. And so I'm just kind of, the energy I'm getting is like, even when you are exhausted and maybe a marriage isn't working out, like big things that just make you want to put your head down and go to sleep for a year and not wake up. You know what I mean? Like, just wait till the storm can pass. And the way this is good in the world is that you've never, you allow the pain that you've experienced, heartbreak, because right before this is the 3 of Swords. So when it's reversed, it's kind of like going back and looking at the card that's right before it. And so I think the good is that you, even in times of heartbreak, like this is after Chandler breaks up with Janice for maybe like the third or fourth time, and he's listening to Lionel Richie. I see that you are able to take the rest. And so I could see that the world can perceive that as like, oh, when your heart is broken, you're able to rest and recover. Even after like really big things. So that's what I'm seeing about the good, about how the world views you, is that even in times of financial struggle and heartbreak, you kind of have always been able to get back up. You're always able to swing back around, and that is good. The next question I asked is, what is the bad about the way the world views you? So I can definitely see this, that if people think you're just super lucky and that you know how to always get yourself back up on your feet, I kind of see that people come to you a lot for help or look to you as like, hey, can you give me some advice? And it's like, I don't think you particularly know what you're doing from one day to the next. You just show up for yourself and you try your best. And sometimes people don't want to hear that. And I could see that's why people are like, oh, you're just lucky. You're like, I'm not just lucky. I work hard and I create opportunities for myself to rise back up. I want to remind you that thoughts become things. So I want to just kind of point out of like when you do get exhausted, because someone can, like the look on this guy's face is as if he's about to throw up. I can only imagine going around in this cycle forever is exhausting. In people's eyes, they're like, I feel like people are coming up to spin the wheel all the time. And because remember, this is just about how the outside world views you. Yeah, this could be a rough card if the world just constantly wants to take from you because they think you're so wise and knowledgeable, and you are. However, a lot of people kind of come up and try and like grab at it. So, but the last question I asked about your outer self, how the world views you, is what is going to be the better for the future? What is something you don't know right now and can't see that's coming up in the future in regards to how the world views you? I see this balancing out in the future, though, as a very favorable position for you. Like, it would be really awful to know you've gone through so many cycles of ups and downs and financial issues and heartbreak and family drama just to end up with nothing. This card here is saying like you're gonna end up with emotional security, a calmness, and intuitiveness that is so necessary. And you only get this sort of peace when you've experienced this sort of chaos. Because if you've only experienced peace, a lot of those people go and seek chaos. Because that's just balance in life. So if you've experienced nothing but constant chaos, you're going to get to a place where you're going to be at peace. And the world will be at peace with you. And you will no longer have this sort of like, I see it being, a lot less like spinning to the right, spinning to the left, up, being stuck upside down. Like, I kind of see you just in a constant circular motion, like a meditative state of just a constant circular motion. So that's the story for how the world views you. The world kind of sees you as a lucky duck, and which can be hard because you're like, I am not just somebody to come and, you know, you never want anyone to come and take advantage of you because they think you have excess to give. Do you know what I mean? Right. So the next one we have is our inner self. So this is kind of how we view ourselves. Meaning this is more, it's closer to who we truly are. But still, it's just an outer shell. Oh, sorry. But it's still just an outer shell. So let's go ahead and check out what cards are here for your inner self. Who are you to your inner self? Well, yeah, I can understand this card being here if you've experienced a lot in the world, like I was saying, of like financial loss and love loss. You are somebody who sees yourself as someone who has really been able to regain your power. And I'm pretty sure I already feel like this is already very well connected, because the world sees it as luck. You see it as something you've worked for and you've actually like put in time and had to go through, because you felt the heavy, strong, bad experiences. Everyone just saw you rise to the top and was like, hey, that sounded great, you did amazing. And yet people actually just didn't know how hard you had to work to do that. So I think you view yourself as someone who's broken free from kind of the crap of life. Like I said, I kind of see you like spinning very meditatively and slow and patiently on that wheel. And that didn't just happen by accident. So next I asked, what was the good about this? So what is the good about who you are to yourself? All right, let's start. I feel like you were probably stuck in a really uncomfortable place for a long time. And so because you know what you've been able to get out of, you don't have to struggle with it anymore. Like, you don't, this kind of is about leaving the issue. I think you've already left the issue. Because of who you are no longer, if it was like this would be saying like, you are not in a good place and you gotta move on. But here it's like, you have moved on from this very unhealthy place. I get the sense that this just was not an easy thing to get out of. The thing that everyone just kind of saw you as like lucky was kind of torture for you. And I feel like you had to learn patience. And so it's very interesting all these are reversed, because to me this is saying, because you view yourself like this, you were able to accomplish all these things. Like, you no longer act impulsively. You no longer do those things. Like I said, you've gained patience. A lot of delays. So, like, I think these three are all talking about delays. So I'm really curious. Delays and frustration. Disorganization and financial disarray. Just gonna look at this one and then I'll kind of read it on. Okay, so delays. So all of them. The good about the way you see yourself. So sometimes people take a really long time to figure out who they are. And I think that's kind of a big fear for younger people. And so they kind of like try to figure themselves out super quickly, and they like go after all this stuff and get married young and they have kids young and they do all these things young because they're trying to figure themselves out. And really that was just delaying their discovery of who they are. And it kind of ended up in bad relationships and financial spots. So at one point this was kind of a situation where this was a situation in the past that you normally would have tried to leave in a rush and leave without planning and leave without the ability to. And so you would always end up back at the spot. But you have finally learned to plan, and because of these delays of discovering who you are and getting to where you want to be in life, you're actually going to see that you're going to be the best version of you, which means you'll finally be able to appreciate everything more. Because if you got everything you wanted when you were younger, you would have squandered it. You would have. And this is just saying delay, 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 delay. But this is in the good spot. So that's why I'm kind of trying to like really, really finally understand this and what this is saying. And I think because you maybe didn't have money for a while and you weren't able to go where you wanted to go, everything seemed like nothing was happening for you. You figured it out. You finally stopped falling on your butt from trying to jump out of a hole and were like, okay, that's not working. I'm going to have to build something to get out. And that takes longer. But you learn a lot about yourself when you're in desperate situations. So, all right, let's look a little bit more into this. There was just a lot there. A lot of cards came out for the good. And so I kind of just wanted to really understand what it was trying to say. So what the bad is about who you are to yourself. This is the negative aspects. So what I'm seeing from this, because this is not inherently a bad card, and there are no bad cards. They all have positive and negatives, but this to me is saying that I see that when you were taking the time to get out of the hole and building something, I see you as somebody who, anytime someone came along and was like, hey, could you help me with this project? You would stop what you're doing that was helping you get out of your hole and the pit of despair, I should say. Oh, I think I was saying that in the other pile about the outer world. And so that is exactly why you have a generosity and a care that has delayed your progress because you've been caring for everybody else. Wow. The last thing I wanted to know, though, was what's the better for the future? What's the thing that is going to be in the future for you that you can't see yet? Oh, I think in the other pile you had for your outcome the Queen of Cups. And so I see that here because that was with the outer world, and that this is the Queen of Cups, right? Yes, this is the Queen of Cups. So I think with this being here, this to me is saying, and relates kind of to this of, you're just gaining that self-control over, you're finally going to be able to say no when people are stepping into when you are trying to help yourself. You're trying, like the devil reversed is saying also, it's important to keep your commitment to breaking free. Meaning, I don't think this is just like a literal pit that you're climbing out of, and once you're out, you're out. It's kind of like you got to watch out for the other pits that you might fall into. And so if you're walking slowly and feeling the terrain and becoming very comfortable with life and moving through it, I really see that the work you're doing, that you work frequently at, the work that people think is luck, because then people will come along and be like, oh, how lucky you found a ladder. You're like, I didn't find a ladder, I built it. So, but you're going to be leaving those ladders behind to help other people. So by your actions and you helping yourself, you are going to help other people, but you have to help yourself first. So that is how this is about how you view yourself, okay? All right, and then so the last pile for you is who you truly are, like your spirit self, your inner child, just who you are at your core. So who are you actually at your inner core? So something that I've never really associated with this card before, but I'm really seeing right now, is I'm seeing that at your core, at your soul level, you are actually, quite honestly, I feel like you are pretty new to your life cycles. So what I mean by that is, I think, because I just heard like beginner's luck. I feel like you're coming into this world almost for the very first time, like the first earth life you've ever had. And so I'm getting the sense, like every soul has gone through other things and, but your soul, I feel like this is its first time on planet Earth. And so you have this sort of experience going on where everything is a lot and very overwhelming. And so that's why you've had to work so hard. And that's why you're so generous and you stop and help everybody, because you aren't from here. You are probably a starseed, somebody who came here to help, help the planet evolve. And so that's very interesting. And that could kind of answer why maybe you have ended up in some rough places, because you may not have known better. You're like, what? I thought they loved me. And who's to blame you if you thought the person you were with loved you and then treated you terribly? That's not your fault. So it's very interesting. The next card I asked is, what is the good about who you truly are? So follow me with this thought of, I'm somebody who believes that tough situations are brought to us to help us evolve. And so the Queen of Pentacles reversed usually has a lot of negative aspects, but what I'm kind of seeing here is that you were given all these opportunities to become a stronger, better person. You are evolving on a soul level that is like fast. And so you may be experiencing life here and going, why am I getting it harder than so many other people? Why do I just keep getting punches thrown at me? And it's like, not everybody is actually in the fighting ring. Some people actually are just viewers. And you have been plopped down in a fighting ring. And you made that choice before you were born. So there's nothing you can do about it now. On the soul level, the soul version of you is like, yes, put me into that fight. I can do it. And so I just see you as this fighter, someone who is working constantly to defend yourself. And so the good about all this is actually a part of your life plan to start from the bottom to get to the top. You are not meant to stay in a place of poverty and loneliness. If you are experiencing that now, you're not meant to stay there. However, you were meant to be kicked down far more than a lot of other people, because stupidly and annoyingly, you're strong enough for it. And it's hard because sometimes we don't want to be a fighter. Sometimes we just want to exist. But sometimes the soul will take on things that our bodies are always like, why did you do this? So, oddly, this is the good for you. I asked, though, what is the negative aspects of this? I think this is all probably going to make a lot of sense. So immediately with the donkey, 10 of acorns, it's like the negative aspects is kind of, I think you've been hearing me say it throughout this reading, of you take on a lot of responsibility. You take on a lot of work. Like, you know how, I don't know if you know how they use donkeys and mules to like hold packs, like when they're traveling, like going down the Grand Canyon, because they can hold a lot. And I see that, like, that's, I was saying that about the way the world views you, that everyone just is like, oh, hey, they're super strong. Go ahead and throw that. Yeah, there's room on their pack. Come on, pack it on. And so that would be exhausting. That even at your core, people know and view you as someone who's responsible and can figure it out. But what I also want to stress is that you do have knowledge of your boundaries. Or you're learning them, at least. Because this is the negative aspect of kind of being a newbie here. And someone who was sent here to like help, is you are constantly being used. Like, I don't even need to say used as like a carrot. Like, no, just used. I have now, I think in all three piles, seen the stress of financial loss for you. And so it's really hard to know sometimes that financial poverty is actually written into our life script. It's not meant to like be that way forever. But again, this is a part of your growth cycle. So yeah. So this card is also representing Pisces. So I'm curious if you are one or have any placements, because this also, the negative aspect of this is just saying like an overwhelming amount of emotions. And so I can really understand that. And if you aren't a Pisces, like let's say you are an Aquarius and you're like, oh, I don't process my emotions, then that can be very, very difficult with this. Of when things go wrong, when people keep packing on things and, you know, things just aren't turning out right, you're just flooded with emotion of like, I just keep hearing like, why me? And I think you are going to create something really great. I think you have already figured out how to make something out of nothing. And at your core level, it can be overwhelming, but I feel like in the pile for how you view yourself, like there was so much strength there and so much overcoming these things. And I really see, so that's, you've worked through a lot of that, which is at your core. Well, this is also delays, which I know is in the other pile. So the 9 of Acorns reversed is just kind of saying, I see that you experience a lot of roadblocks. And so that can just be exhausting. So oddly with this card, I'm just getting this kind of like diving right in. That's the energy. And so having these in negative aspects of this, I just kind of want to really hone in, fine tune what this is all kind of saying, because I don't want it to sound like there's just bad everywhere, because I don't see that at all. What I'm seeing is that you were given a soul contract and plan that was meant to produce so much beauty and light in this world. Every person you've helped remembers you. You've touched the hearts of so many people. You've changed so many lives because of who you are. Because you know what struggle feels like, and you don't like that. And you know that so many times in life, if you just had a hand, how much easier that would have been for you. But no one's been reaching their hand out for you because they look at you and they think, wow, that person's so lucky. I wonder why. And the truth is I think you just came into this world with bright eyes and just all the hope and belief in everything. You took on every opportunity proudly, with excitement. You did not know that you were going to be knocked down every step of the way. So you have a strength. You are a unbelievable individual. This is not an easy set to have at all. But if you are able to use that hard work and dedication and that gumption you do have that helped you get out of all that crap you went through, keep going. Let's see. I did ask, what is the better and the future for who you truly are? So what I see with the Six of Cups is this kind of coming back around to your inner child, which this also kind of represents. Just you're going to come back to who you are at your core. It's all going to work out because you are coming into a good place of karma, which the Wheel of Fortune also is. So to me, again, that's not just how people view you, but how the world views you. And so I think the world is giving you a huge karmic payout. Because you got, I love that all your outcome cards were hearts. Because you've given out so much light and love. And I promise you that that is the greatest gift that you can see at the end of your life, that you're surrounded by people who love you. It's not about money. It's about love. And there will be a day when you see every single person walk through the door thanking you for what you did for them. You're a hard worker and you've gone through a lot. Lastly, I wanted to check out your charm. Sweet. So this is a rune that represents almost like the breath of life. And so how this ties in for me is that I see that literally from the first breath you took after you were born, when you were given your full personality, when that's when you get your astrological natal chart, is when you're born. From your core to how the people in the world view you, you were brought here to bring healing and love, and you actually had to be the one to hurt, to find out how to heal the hurt. And that is what you passed along to the world. And yeah, maybe the world does just see you as lucky. And truthfully, you are. But that doesn't negate the work you've done. I'm just saying, when all the cards got dealt out at the beginning of the poker game, you were given an excellent hand from the get. But you still have learned how to play. Poker isn't just one round, so I think you've learned. It's like that's kind of what I just saw of, like, your first round of poker, you were given such a great hand, and then when you hear about people gambling and they're like, I was up so high and then I just went down, down, down. I feel like you've experienced a lot of that down, and so but you've learned how to play the game properly, and so now you are and now you're reaping those rewards. So the karmic rewards are coming in. And if you want that to be money, tell the universe you want it to be money. If you want it to be love, tell the universe you want love. You just got to be specific about how you want your payment. So pile 1, I'm going to leave it here. This was quite an in-depth reading. I honestly did not expect that, but I'm really happy we got to do this. If you were able to hang on through the whole thing, thank you so much. It has been such an honor being able to channel your energy, and I'm so excited to see, what happens in the future, and I'd love to channel your energy again. So thank you so much, Pile 1. This was amazing. I hope you got something out of it. If it resonated, I would love for you to give it a little thumbs up. That lets me know the reading is working for you and everything is going good. And if you loved it, I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of my channel. The subscriptions just make my heart dance. So thank you so much, and I hope y'all have a great day. Bye. Hi, Pal 2. Thank you so much for joining me today. So you chose the second nesting doll. That is the one that kind of represented how you view yourself. So this is kind of your ego. This is, the person who, the flesh and blood that walks this earth kind of thing. The tiny one is your soul, kind of true spirit, and the big one is how the world views you. And so, yeah, I think I went into too much explanation in the last pile about what the nesting dolls are, but yeah, if you don't know, they open up, and they'll have bigger ones until you get to a tiny little one. This one's just 3 layers. Oh, so sorry. This one's just 3 layers, and so yeah. So we're going to put this off to the side. So your charm was this little moth. We'll look at the rune at the end. So that's just the charm for that. Okay, so however, we are going to look at the first pile is how the world views you. Oh my goodness. My goodness. So the first pile is how the world views you. So honestly, the judgment in reverse, especially when it's how the world views you. So this is not who you are. This is how the world views you. And there is a definite energy of like someone who just can't face their problems, who's just kind of trying to avoid everything in life, who doesn't believe in themselves, has a lot of self-doubt, won't look at who they really are. And I have a really strong feeling that is not who you are. So, I wonder if I should do it like that. And then it can be looked at all at once. I think I want to try that for pile 2. I didn't do that for pile 1, but I feel like it'll become more of a fluid story if I do this all at once, because I don't even want to go into how the world views you without you knowing who you are. So I'll bring in all these other little ladies too. So, all right, so that's gonna be, all right, so this is how you view yourself. And I wonder if this is because of the way the world views you. Okay, so you may see yourself as maybe a little naive, a little bit of a risk taker. But I get the energy that you just see it as, I'm just experiencing life. So yeah, it's definitely, you may be younger. Age actually really doesn't matter here, but I do see that you have like family and people who judge you on who you are and the way you live your life. And I get the feeling you're a lot more like just the free spirit. So, but who you truly are, your spirit level. So when the Emperor's reversed, it kind of is saying like excessive control, domination, rigid and inflexible. So I'm wondering if that is like a certain aspect to who you are, that you are trying to live the opposite. And so maybe you were raised in a very strict household, or there's just something about you that has been very rigid throughout your life. And so now you're kind of at this place of like, I'm just going to go experience it all. And yeah, the world isn't always going to understand that, because they usually want you to follow along in their path. So I wanted to know the good about the way the world views you. Well, when the Ten of Pentacles is reversed, it kind of is suggesting someone who's just like out there having fun. So in an aspect, I am kind of seeing it as like, even though people are like, are you going to get your life together? A lot of people really understand you're just experiencing life the way you're meant to. And so, yeah, you're out there and you are not trying to settle down for love, perhaps. And it's good because I don't think people are taking it seriously. They don't think you're going to like end up nothing. So the good about how you view yourself, I wonder what environment you're walking away from that you are living the opposite life of. Because I think you really like that you have kind of flew off and are just like, you're proud of yourself of like, yeah, no one's going to hurt me. No one's going to take me down. No one's going to tell me who I am. And I think you like that aspect of yourself. So the good about who you truly are. So I don't know particularly what happened that hurt you so much, but I am very aware that there's something about the way you were raised that you're just kind of rebelling against. But what's good about the fact that you do have these very strong dominant cards here is I don't think people understand how in control you are. Like, you probably know, like, you could be one of those people who are like, yeah, I'm only going to smoke till I'm 25. And by the time I'm 25, I'm going to quit. Or I'm only going to drink until I'm 25 and then I'm going to quit. Like, you have these kind of limitations that people can't really see. So, but you are doing everything very intentional. And so you are not literally just flying by the seat of your pants. You are not leaping without looking. You know exactly what you're doing and you are completely in control, even though the world may be like very judgmental of you. So the negative aspects about the way people view you. Well, yeah, so when the world doesn't know what you're doing or why, I think they kind of see you as a very secretive and very private person. So that may not be negative for you, but for the world, it's kind of that thing of like, you know, people are so thirsty for finding out what celebrities' whole lives are about, who they're dating, what's happening. And if we live in a society where media feeds us every little detail about someone's life, it could be really hard if you aren't offering up that information. I'm like the Great Gatsby. Means I'm mysterious. So the negative aspects about how you view yourself. Ooh. So the Queen of Crystals reversed. It's adorable hedgehog. So the negative aspect for kind of living this life of like, I'm just doing what I want, nobody's going to tell me no, is the Queen of Crystals reverse actually kind of says like, you have to declutter the mind and get back to basics. It's kind of saying like, what's the words? Getting back in touch with the beautifully simple things in life that already surround you. So I think there's an element here that is saying like, yeah, you know how to have fun, but we don't always want to have fun forever in the same way. Like, I promise you, like, partying and drinking beyond a certain age is exhausting and wears you down. And like I said, I think at your core, you know your limitations, but the ego part of you may not know that, because the Nine of Shells reversed actually says be careful what you wish for. So you may be wishing for everyone to just get off your back and leave you alone and just let you live your life and party and just, but there may be a day when you wake up and you're like there may be a day you wake up and there's somebody in your bed next to you who you barely know and you're just like, I'm done with this. I'm done waking up to a stranger. And the negative aspects of this. I really like this. I'm going to read this right out of the book. When anxiety and worry overcome you, recognize your greatest desire and choose that which holds the most meaning. Ask yourself what will truly fulfill you. Oh, pile 2. Wow. The first pile, that was all about how the world views you. Like, that whole pile was about how the world views them, truly. And pile 2 was how you view yourself. And this whole thing was just truly how you view yourself, kind of like that outside aspect of you. And like, this was taking the precedence. And so this coming in saying the Seven of Shells reversed, like, know what you truly want. What is most important to you? Do you want to be with somebody one day? Do you ever want to have kids? Do you just want to have friends around you? You have to figure out what it is you're wanting, which is, I think, what you've been trying to avoid with everyone in the world being like, do you even know what you're doing with yourself? Are you going to get married? Are you settling down? Have you bought a house? Like, I hear that sort of jibber jabber coming at you. And so you've definitely been like, hey, I'm getting out of here. Don't you tell me what to do. I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to go just party and meet people and do this while I'm young. And for sure. But these are all kind of just like, be careful what you wish for. Find the simpler things. Because what's cool is you don't have to. This doesn't mean like, oh, I guess I have to go back to my family who I all told to like F off, No. It means finding the hobbies that make you feel good and doing them. Like I said, you know who you are. You are actually in such control of the craziness you're living. And so, honestly, no one needs to worry about you. I think you're just kind of getting a little suggestion here from, all right. So, oh my gosh, pile 2. I'm so sorry. I know you have no real clue. My power went out probably 4 or 5 hours ago. And so it got very dark and it is very hot right now. So there was just no way I was going to be able to complete this. So I apologize if the fans are too loud. I try and edit them out afterwards, but all right. So I want to see where we were at. So outer, inner, true. People. Okay. So on the outside, people think you probably haven't reflected enough on your life, that you maybe aren't making enough choices on like where to settle down and who to be with. And so it could kind of seem hard to reach you. Like it would be hard to know you, honestly. The way you view yourself is that you're just kind of young and free and trying to like do this thing. Like you're just trying to find out who you are. And this one always kind of trips me up. But you're just not willing to put up with anyone's crap who's trying to convince you of living your life one way or another. And these cards right here are just kind of saying to like be careful what you wish for. Like don't wish to be a bachelor and be a bachelor forever. Do you know what I mean? Like if that's not what you want. Like if it's I want to be free until the age 30, and then I want to meet the person I'm going to marry. Like be specific to the universe. And it's also just really encouraging you to like find those hobbies and things that when you get older, those hobbies are the things you lean on. Those are the things you look to and rely on and look forward to, believe it or not. So it's kind of saying just develop those things. I love that your true nature is actually very well structured. You know exactly who you are. And that's what's cool is to the outside, it may seem you're like kind of all over the place, but you're actually very controlled with your craziness. Does that make sense to you? The 7 of Shells, I think, yeah, this was kind of just, maybe this was the one that was suggesting pick something that's going to mean a lot to you. Not just having fun because while having fun is great, there's more to life. So I did ask for each pile the better. So what is going to be the better and the future for the way people view you outside? I think people are going to be able to see down the road that you do know what you're doing, and to them it's going to seem like it's going to just happen quickly. They're not going to see the time that you had to put in to become who you are. And so to them it's going to seem like, oh, you just found this person super quickly and got married, when it's like, I actually don't believe that. I believe that if you're going to marry someone, it's going to be somebody who you spent a lot of time getting to know. What's funny is it's kind of that thing of they'll only celebrate you once strangers do. So, like, I guess I'm kind of seeing this as like family and friends. But once you are where you're going to be and you're successful and you're married and whatever it is, all the things they wanted you to do, they're going to see that you actually are a very loving and intentional person, and that you're going to have a lot of people finally believing like you followed your instincts. Like, you're going to have those people saying, like, I knew I didn't have to worry about you the whole time. I knew you were going to figure it out. You're going to hear that a lot when you get down the road. The next card, or the next pile. So what's the better for the future of how you view yourself? Yeah, so in the future, you're gonna be able to slow down. You're going to have this time where you get to that age that you set for yourself, and you're gonna be like, okay, it's time to settle down. And that's the Four of Cups. The Seven of Pentacles, I think there's gonna be something that you've been investing your time in that nobody even knew about. That's what I mean, is I feel like people are gonna kind of be like, what? This came out of nowhere. And it's like, no, they just didn't know that you invested in something a long time ago, and now it's worth a lot of money. Yeah, you're going to have this like independence and like knowledge because you went out into the world and chose to experience everything. You now have like a book of knowledge to look to. So anyone has a problem, you got the answer, honestly. And maybe that was kind of the path you wanted to go on. You're like, I don't know who I want to be, but I know down the road I want to know who I am. And so for the better for the future, for your inner true self, well, truly, the world is your oyster. I'm really excited for you because I'm really also glad I did the reading this way. The other one I did like one pile at a time. This way I'm actually getting to like look at everybody and really see how you are as a whole. How the world sees you, how you view yourself, and who you truly are. And the world is going to be your oyster. You are going to have, because you lived life the way you wanted to, and everyone thought you were just crazy, but that's funny because Seven of Shells. Yeah, you're gonna figure it out. Like, you honestly, there's such wisdom in knowing that you don't know what you're doing and that you went out to find out who you are. That takes bravery and courage, and I'm so proud of you. So you chose the charm of the moth. What's funny is I didn't notice this when I was talking before. Oh my gosh, I don't have any of my rings on. I didn't put those back on. Like I said, it was many hours. It's very hot. But I noticed I was wearing two butterflies. Or a moth and a butterfly, what have you. So Let's see. Honestly, this rune kind of says to me that life is just about going out there and exploring and experiencing, and I'm really happy you did that. I'm really happy you are doing that. You know, this rune is all about like humanity and how we connect and communication, and you're going out there and doing that. Like, the greatest thing you can do is go out and meet people who've lived lives you'll never ever see, and hear their stories and learn from their wisdom. And you're doing that. This was a really exciting reading, especially with the power going out. I wonder if that's symbolic in any way for you. Like, I just saw someone, like, I don't think this is going to be everybody, obviously, but what I saw, and it may just be a metaphor, is like someone who had a near-death experience and came back. Like, everything went out and shut off. And this could be metaphorically. Like, when I got sick recently, I knew I loved health. But when I got as sick as I did last time, I've never been that sick in my entire life. That made me cherish health so much. And I just feel like there may be something that's going to kind of make you see where you want to go and what path you want to be on. So that's just kind of the last little finishing touches. I'm proud of you for not needing to have validation from the world. So, pile 2, thank you so much for honestly just joining me on this journey. I appreciate getting to channel your energy. I hope you found something that resonated in this message. If you liked it, I would love for you to give it a little thumbs up. That lets me know the reading's resonating with you. And if you loved it, I would just love for you to subscribe to my channel. It feels amazing every time I get a new subscriber. So just thank you so much for your support and being here and your comments and just everything you guys are doing. So I hope y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. Thank you so much for joining me today. So you chose the smallest of the nesting dolls. This one represents who you are at your core, kind of like your inner child or your spirit and soul. So I didn't really notice this when pulling the 3 piles, but I have two butterflies on, so I thought that was interesting, but I wasn't really seeing this. I couldn't put my finger on what this was, but it kind of reminds me of the nesting doll. So we'll see how this plays out at the end of the reading. So what we're gonna do is I have each one, so we're gonna look at how the world views you, how you view yourself, and the inner workings of who you are. Since you chose this one, I know that this is going to be a really important facet of who you are. But really, I just kind of laid out the 3 for everyone to choose from. So, but we'll see. I feel like, right, because the first pile, I really feel like was focused on how the world viewed them. The last pile, pile 2, definitely was about how they viewed themselves. And so we're going to see who you truly are. Okay. Alrighty. So the first card I asked was, all right, so this is who you are to the world. So you are definitely mysterious. The world looks at you and wants to know more. You are probably a really hard shell to crack, and that's good. Not everybody needs to know your inner secrets. So the next card is how you view yourself. So you're definitely somebody who's gone through things. You're definitely somebody who understandably is mysterious because you've had to figure out who you are, and you've transformed so many times that can be kind of exhausting if you're trying to keep up with how other people see it. So the next card is who you truly are. Something tells me you came into this world and you shook things up. Something tells me you are the truth teller of the family. You are somebody who knows that you've gone through a lot, and it's honestly it's encoded in your DNA. It's who you were born to be. You came into this world to destroy it and rebuild it in the best way possible. That does not mean tearing down good establishments and homes and families. Like, no, you came in and you point out what's not working. And that can be scary. So it's like you're mysterious, but also people don't want to fuck with you. So the next card, so this is the good. This card is going to be the good about how people view you. So what I'm kind of seeing is it's like you like that people don't understand you. You like that you're mysterious to people because honestly, they leave you alone. And if you are this person who kind of comes in and brings truth, probably a lot of people avoid you because this is kind of a card of like a know-it-all attitude. So like I could see the world thinking very potentially because you don't participate in the bullshit that they could be like, oh, well, you just think you're better than everybody. It's like, yeah, okay, if you want to think that, I'm going to go over here and not be around you. You keep saying all you want about me. So the good about how you view yourself. Yeah, so you are definitely somebody who, like, when life has hurt you, you have left it. And what this is saying to me is that you've learned to protect yourself because you see yourself as somebody who's in constant transformation and rebirth. You have no problem walking away from the bullshit, and it's protected you. Because if this is what's on the inside, you know, I feel like you may wonder, like, I feel like you have this ability to see through people's crap, and it's probably been hard to maintain a relationship because a lot of relationships come with a lot of crap, and sometimes you have to put up with some, and I feel like you don't put up with any. So yeah, I think I said that. Basically, you know where not to put your energy. When you recognize bullshit immediately, you smell it long before anyone else does. And so some people may wonder why you kind of don't keep a relationship around or a long-term like job. And it's like, you're not willing to settle. And so, yeah, people may think of you as a know-it-all or mysterious, but it's like you're just figuring life out. And, you know, everyone was given a different purpose here when we were born, and you were given the gift of shaking shit up. So, yeah, you're not going to want to just take any job or be in any relationship. And, yeah, you have no problem quitting something, dumping someone, and don't worry. You are doing you, and that's all you can do. So these next cards are what is the bad, so the negative aspects of the way people view you. That's so funny. The Tower. Yeah, I don't think people really enjoy the aspect of you that goes with the flow of when things aren't working. You're like, okay, I'll change. I'm a chameleon. I can fit in anywhere. You have this permission that you've given yourself to not let anyone make you feel bad. And so the world is kind of, they view you as someone who like can't settle down maybe, and that's not it at all. I think you actually have set up so much security in who you are. Yeah, and people are literally like this indecision and going with the flow of change. Like, it is hard for people to see someone be okay with not knowing what they want. That terrifies a lot of people. And I'm sure you've heard that from them. All right, I'll try and go through these quickly. I got a bunch of cards here for how you view yourself. So there are apparently, I would not have expected it. There are some negative aspects too. Oh, there's the moth. So even though you're willing to break up with somebody, move out, I have a feeling it's kind of hard for you to move on though. Like, what I'm seeing is it's almost like you are like, oh no, I've had this happen before. So you almost maybe are preemptively leaving people, leaving jobs because you've been hurt in the past, which is understandable. But it's important to learn to let go. It's just saying that you'll get burnt out if you don't let something live. I feel like you're coming in and killing opportunities left and right because you're like, nope, I want something new. Nope, I want something new. And it's like, that's okay. It's going to be hard. With this card here, I'm just kind of seeing that you struggle with making a choice of, like, maybe there's somebody you broke up with already that you kind of regret. And so you kind of have this like, oh, maybe I was being too picky. So the negative aspects about the way you see yourself as the Death card. Positive is you can walk away from any time something hasn't worked for you. But the negative is you may not be able to move on from the things that hurt you. Even though you can walk away, I feel like I think I was saying how you may still hold on to that pain and it prevents you from moving on to something new. Like, you may break up with someone very quickly because you're like, no, I know how this goes. And so there's just this like indecisiveness, right? Because if you're constantly trying to pick between somebody or what to do or where to go, I could see that choice being struggling because like the 8 of Acorns, it's like when you're not getting the results you want fast enough. So to me, this is kind of saying like, because this is not inherently a negative card at all, but what I'm getting from it is just this energy of someone who is like, you look out over the relationship and everything that you think is happening, and you, or like a job or a path you're on, and I really feel like you look over it and kind of spot out the problems so far ahead that you don't even take the chance on redirecting your path. I think there's I feel like there's something saying just like, well, no, I don't think there was any advice. So let me, the advice I feel like I'm hearing is to look at other paths. Don't just soar high above everything and be like, oh, there it is. I told you that person was going to be a piece of shit. Do you see them down there? When it's like, look in a different direction. Just when you're looking for where people are going to fail you, you're going to find it. So there's just, I'm finding it very interesting how I'm just getting the nature that you really like the kind of destruction cycle. And there's just so many cards here that are just saying like you really like to start over. And so I just find it so interesting how many cards you got here at this spot and what it's saying of, it's never, the death card is not bad at all. It is about transformation. It's the Scorpio card, and the Scorpios are very driven, very dedicated and loyal, but will also cut you off if they need to. So this kind of talks about chaos and like a lack of control over things. So I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe this constant cycle of renewing things is not creating stability. I think that's literally one of the words on here, stability. So, last card. I'm shocked with how many times it's kind of repeating this message about, you don't let anyone get in your way. If you want something, you go after it. But in that same respect, when you are done with something, you drop it immediately. And so I'm just wondering if it's maybe hurting you more than helping you. I'm wondering. I don't know. Everyone's gonna have different rhymes and reasons, you know? All right, so the negative aspects about who you truly are at your core. Because everybody has positive and negatives. That is not a bad thing, even though that sounds like it's a bad thing, but it's not. So the 7 of Feathers here is just saying, like, you know what path to take and where to put your energy. And that's good. That's very good, especially if at your core you are somebody who comes in and breaks down structures. But again, this card is kind of just saying, like, I feel like you're always trying to stay ahead of the pain. And so at your core, when you're coming in to break down structures and institutions that aren't working, it can kind of put you in a survival mode, is what I'm hearing, rather than a creative mode. And I would love that for you. I would love for you to have a creative nature, where you get to connect, or I would love to know what your creative nature is. Because this reading is so, what's the word? This reading has really been about who you are at your core. So when it is the Tower card, you choosing this pile, meaning who you are at your soul affects every aspect of your life. And I see that. And I saw that in the other two. When, pile 2, like everything was about the way they viewed themselves. And pile 1 was all about how the world viewed them. So I'm seeing that who you are at your core, your spirit, your soul, it plays into every aspect of your life. Like the fact that it's hard for people, the negative aspect of how people view you is literally the Tower. That to me is just so like, people don't understand you. And I'm sorry for that. But I don't think people are meant to understand you, because you're here to change things. Yeah, you, ironically, you really like a calm energy. You really like a stable environment. And I say that's ironic because it is in your nature to come in and break down structures. And it can be difficult for you to find peace if you are constantly looking on where to change things. I think it's said a couple times to reevaluate your priorities. So what I'm hearing about that is sometimes you may want to be right more often than get along with people, which is fine in certain situations, especially if they're not like-minded people or people you even want to try to be around. So, but it could be a negative aspect if it's holding you back from progression. That's really the only thing I'm getting here, is it's okay to be that person to break down structures, but where do you want to go with that energy? Are you just going to keep going to jobs and leaving, or finding relationships and breaking up? Like, where's the product? And I think I was just saying, like, this is a survival mode energy. And I want you to be in a creative mode energy. And it's not always easy to understand the two. But survival is when you're just trying to anticipate what's going to go wrong. Creative is when you are trusting in the universe and you are allowing yourself to live life as is. So I asked, what is going to be the better result for the future of how people view you? What's really cool is actually, I'm getting this message that because you have created a healthy boundary with the world, the world is really going to give you back a lot of warmth. And hear me out, because you haven't allowed people to come in and walk all over you. I feel like you are somebody who respects everybody until they don't respect you, and then you ask them to leave. So this, is there Yeah. I mean, there's in this deck there's always a black cat, but on the Queen of Wands has a black cat too. I think the world is actually going to be very impressed with where you end up. I feel like the world actually, there's, I mean, I guess there is that kind of know-it-all attitude energy that they think you have. But really, when they find out that you were right the whole time, it won't be a know-it-all attitude. It'll be like, oh, she knew the whole time. You know what I mean? That person knew the whole time. This Queen of Wands. And because you never wavered on your standards, you have this determination in you because you never let anyone beat you down. I think the world is really going to be able to maybe not understand you, but they'll accept you and celebrate you even for who you are. Like, I don't know why, but I'm just getting this energy of like Taylor Swift. That is somebody who has known what she wanted. I don't even listen to Taylor Swift's music. I barely know anything about her personally, but this is what's coming to me. That she knows when something's not right for her and she moves on. And so at first, people were very judgmental of her patterns and who she was, and is she going to make it far, and is she just going to be like a lost cause, and holy whatever. Taylor Swift now is one of the, I mean, she's always been big, but her determination and continuation to not give up has given her this worldwide respect that I have never seen people drop everything to go to a Taylor Swift concert faster than what she's got going on right now. So that's the energy. You've kind of been mysterious to the world for a while, a little bit doing things how you want, but in the end they're all going to celebrate you, they're all going to love you, they're all going to see you as this beautiful, exuberant, light, shining person. So, oh my god, the way you view yourself, we did not get light cards for that, but maybe this was really important for you to understand a lot more about yourself. So, all right, so the first card we have for the outcome for the future of how you view yourself, I see that you're going to actually be able to see yourself as kind of a mother figure. Kind of in a way I don't think you saw yourself before. Probably because and this isn't necessarily about having kids, but this is an energy of someone who has gone through so much crap and has cut out all the bullshit. Like I said, you smell bullshit immediately and you call that out. So you have this like security with yourself. Like, you are sensual. You are creative. You are exercising good judgment. I mean, that has been clear through this whole reading, that you are somebody who has good judgment. And even though, yeah, maybe you have ended up kind of alone sometimes, it's gonna all pay off. Oh my god. Literally. You're gonna end up with just the perfect love because you didn't settle. I truly believe Taylor Swift will find the love of her life because she didn't settle. Bitch, you can't make this up. I swear. Family's coming up again, so I'm really curious if that is something that you are wanting. If not family, just absolute security. Like, I just see a couple who is so down to earth and knows themselves so truly, the partner you are going to find is going to just be like a perfect 10. Everything you have been working towards is going to come to you. Every standard you set, every boundary you put up, every obstacle and everything, it's all going to pay out, and you are going to manifest the love of your life, the perfect life. This is, I'm so happy for you. Adventure and lust, like you, I just feel so excited for your future with this lover you're gonna have. And it is because of the way you've seen yourself. So, don't ever let anyone tell you that the way you hold yourself and the values you have, you know, I just feel like you've been told before, like, oh, if you stop being, if you don't stop being so, rigid, you're not going to end up with anybody. You're going to end up alone. And it's like, that is not true. You're rigid and you have standards. That's why you're going to end up with the perfect love. All right. And then the final results for who you truly are. Truly, with these together, because this is, the Three of Swords is usually like sadness and like, it's got like 3 swords going through a heart. But when these are coupled together, I'm getting that all the heartbreak you've gone through at a soul level, like I feel like a soul level pain anytime you've ever had to walk away from something. Because that's what's interesting, is I'm getting this energy that maybe people think you would walk away from something super easily. They don't know that you put your heart and soul into everything, so every time it was painful to leave. I don't think it was ever easy for you to walk away. But you have achieved this knowing of who you are because you've gone through so many cycles of painful heartache, like deep, deep sorrow. You have all the sticks to build a house now. You've carried everything from the bottom of the mountain to the top, and all of your supplies are there. So yeah, people may not know what you're up to. Who cares? That's not for them to know. You are, oh my gosh, second time, so sorry. I feel like you've wanted this simple life of just gardening and hanging out with your cat, talking to the birds, experiencing life and all it has to give. And this is all you've ever really wanted, was simple. But I feel like you probably watched maybe your own parents make really painful choices while you were growing up, and you just kind of told yourself, like, I'm not going to let that happen. That's not going to be me. That's not going to be my story. So at your core, you are somebody who basically was born to restructure things that are no longer working. And even though you had to go through hell and back, you now have everything you need. Oh my God, do you remember your outcome? Because you value yourself, that's gonna pay off. and I'm just like so happy for you. Oh, let's not forget. So the last thing, so this little guy who I just think I didn't see the similarity before, but definitely reminds me of like the inner child, because it just reminds me of a kid. So, but let's read about the rune. Wow. Do not be afraid of death. It is just another part of life. You will experience a new beginning once you have completed the current cycle, but not before. Set your boundaries clearly and you will be protected. It was. I mean, remember, is that not exactly what I was talking about? This entire reading? Spirit guides are so amazing. I just have to pause and say, the whole process of doing tarot is absolutely fascinating to me because I shuffle these. I do not pick them out. I let them pop out on their own. And so when they all line up and all tell the same story and different pieces to it, it just makes me feel so, so amazing. So this rune actually, it's kind of representing the yew tree, which apparently has, I think it says like spikes in it. Yeah, it has needles in it. So it's a very defensive tree. And so I see that about you as you are somebody who has been in a constant state of growth and allowing cycles to come and go. And I think you're at the end of a cycle right now. And maybe maybe you're about to move into this next cycle of knowing you actually are gonna find love. Maybe you've been doing this for so long that you're like, I don't even know if it's gonna happen for me. Which I understand, but it's not true. So pile 3, I don't know what else to say other than that you are mysterious. You are all about life and rebirth and growth and restructure, and you are just an awesome, awesome person. I really enjoyed this reading. You are somebody who is 1000% going to end up with everything they wanted because you aren't settling it. You aren't settling. So, like the yew tree, you have boundaries and you have standards. This is perfect for you. This rune, if you're needing any help moving on, it says to use this rune and it will help you kind of move past a troubling situation. So pile 3, just thank you so, so much. I know you weren't aware of all the breaks I took, but this reading took me so long to film, from the power outage to family situation. So, but yes, thank you. I'm really glad I was able to deliver this to you. I hope you were able to get something out of it. So pile 3, it's always an honor when you let me channel your energy. I really hope you enjoyed it and resonated with it. If you like this reading, I would love for you to give it a little thumbs up. My left thumb has been clicking. Give it a little thumbs up and lets me know that the reading is working for you. And if you loved it, I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of my channel. It's just such an honor anytime anyone wants to be a part of this channel with me. So thank y'all for being here. I look forward to seeing you in the future, and have a great day.